Hey everybody, it's Sophie and Marco, Dish Out on the Movies. But today we're doing an episode of Buddy Valastro's Cake Dynasty. And it is episode 9, and it is entitled A Cake Fit for Caesar. And when they say Caesar, they are referring to Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, Nevada. And they are having a 57th birthday.
First off, I would like to debunk the rumor or the myth in this episode because I looked it up right after I heard it, and it's I think it was it might have been Joey, and he said that Caesar salads were named after Caesar.
No,
that's not true.
I knew that.
I looked that up because I was like, really?
No.
Because I thought like that would actually be pretty cool if like someone from the Roman times had like a recipe that like survived that long. Like that would have been kind of cool.
No.
But no, it's not. Like it's from some guy named Caesar, and he's a Mexican guy, and so they should really call it Mexican salad because I don't know.
There's nothing spicy about it.
It's
really simple.
It's a strange name because it's a very simple salad, and it's like, who is that guy, Caesar? I mean, they never even made a movie about Caesar salad.
I don't know.
They should do that. Like,
maybe they should have a series.
What?
And for example, we know about. Was it Rice Krispies and Pabst Blue Ribbon, and some of those things were invented for the Columbia Exposition in Chicago. Remember, they had some. They talked about it in that book about some of the things that they introduced at the fair that had never been introduced, and also how Vincent Price's grandpa, oh God, I can't remember what it was, but he had this first kind of candy and introduced that, and so he was actually related to somebody who had a candy company, his grandpa. And there's other things, person who invented ice cream, where you take it away in a cone or whatever, that's somebody, and all kinds of stuff. So you need to have like a series. I don't know if people would be interested in that or not. You'd have it on the Food Channel, I guess, or a food.
Are people even interested in this series? Because it seems like we're the only ones watching it.
Well,
and reviewing it.
It's okay. Well, there's this show in particular covers 3 or 4 different issues. And of course, it's always a cake. So, like I said, a cake fit for Caesar. They have to make this cake. And Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas, I've never been there. I'm not really interested in going to Las Vegas, but I do know another thrifter there is really good at what she does. And she looks at, she lives there. She works there. And she doesn't have anything to do with the casinos or anything, and so she makes it. She looks at it with a different eye, and I like it better with it, through her. Then I don't care about the casinos, and when Buddy did all this and they had to go to Las Vegas, and we'll go into that.
I'd like to go there and cheat and get away with it, so that I could brag about it on YouTube videos that only 5 people watch.
Well, he brought his whole family there, and they showed him at the end of the episode, and they were swimming in the pool. Big deal. They have a pool at their house, and I think it's still summer at their house, so they could still be swimming at home. It's not like somebody who doesn't have a pool would go there, and that would be one thing for their kids they could do. I know there's shows and everything, but I don't know. I just don't see the attraction. at those casinos. And I'm sorry, I know gambling, but you don't take your kids there to gamble. So, anyway, we'll get into the episode. But one of the first things that they had trouble with, and I say trouble because, they have this factory, and really, I kind of find that interesting, sometimes more than the cake, because it showed to me that Buddy is very conscious of making mistakes. In other words, quality control. And Marco and I have complained about, quote, quality control when we go to these fast foods, like, for example, down the street, Cane's Chicken, whatever it is, how they have a very limited menu.
And still, they fuck it up.
And that just, I don't get it. And so but here he is. He has his fingers in a lot of pies, so to speak, and this has to do with pie. And he is very consciously trying to keep quality control at the risk of wasting thousands of dollars. So they make pies and they make cakes and et cetera, but this is the factory I'm talking about. So they make a pecan pie, and first he talked about the pecans. He doesn't use pecan pieces, which means they've been chopped up. He likes to use the whole pecan piece, and so that's pretty good because it does make it better. But that's just the way he sees it and the way he likes it and the way he thinks it should be done. But that was not the problem. They did show that, and there was a question about it, and they fixed it. And so about using a whole pecan piece and not pieces. Okay, the other thing was they had actually made, I think it was 3,000 pecan pies. And they were very stressed out. Why? Because they were wrong. What would happen is, if you got that pecan pie and you went to make a slice, the filling would go out through the bottom and make it stick, and you may not, because it has kind of a caramely filling. And so you wouldn't even be able to get all the filling out because the pie intact, the pie piece intact with the filling and everything, like a clean piece of pie, you wouldn't be able to get that out because it kept going through. The filling kept leaking out to the bottom. Not the very bottom of the pie pan that you can see, but underneath the pie itself. And they had tried everything. They had tried different temperatures and I don't know what else, but it sounded like they had tried multiple things. The head of the line, I assume that was him because they were talking to him in particular. He was saying everything that they had done. So they had made 3,000 pies, and Buddy checked them, and they had already done that too, and they were all wrong. They all were messed up, like I'm saying, like they were stuck in the bottom of the pie.
And I was like, who cares? They're pecan pies. I don't even like pecan pie.
That's just not right. That's not quality control. By checking it, that he was maintaining.
You know what?
Control.
My quality control is taking pecan pie and throwing it in the trash can.
Well, I love it, but it's very fattening.
Well, I like it, but I only like it if it's really, really, really good.
Yeah, well, it looked pretty good.
I don't know.
So anyway, these are like smaller. I'd say they were 8-inch size pies. I've made pie quite a bit. Anyway, and I have my own problems with pies sometimes, so I know how it is. But anyway, Buddy said, well, we can't have this because they can't sell any of those. And he said that could be easily $15,000 in a loss, a $15,000 loss. But they will, or they donated, he said they were going to do this. And they did this with other things too, if there was a problem or whatever, old bakery goods, they donated to the food pantry. So they're going to donate all those 3,000 pecan pies. But the problem is, here he is, he's got to make this cake, we haven't even talked about that yet, and a presentation, we'll talk about that, at Caesar's Palace for a new business there. So, but he can't do any of that until he gets this pie situation worked on. And what he did was he made crust himself. He handmade, no, he didn't handmade because I saw him putting in the machine and I saw the mixer and it was mixing the dough. And what happened was it had not been mixed enough. That was the difference, because he mixed it more and he compared, and then you can even see the look of the crust was different than the crust that they had made for the other pies. So, so that's what, and then they cooked it, they baked it, and it was perfect. They tested it, so that's all settled now, it's all solved. So I thought that was interesting, because of his attitude, number one, and because they're working on the problem that they were able to fix it and what they had to do to fix it. Okay, Marcos, so why don't you move on now?
What do you mean?
Why don't you talk about now the other two parts?
Well, what I want to talk about is my opinion of what happens, like not just telling people what happens after they've already watched the episode.
Well, I guess they have.
I thought, this show, it's got some issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say the big issue is the fact that it really doesn't need to be 45 minutes long. Like, even though, maybe what they could do is they could have an extended version of the episode, of each episode on, their website, and they make it free. Don't charge for that.
Mm-hmm.
But then for the show that they air on TV, maybe just make it 30 minutes. Because I really feel like they're stretching to find stuff to put in the episode. And they're stretching to make it 45 minutes. And, we used to watch Cake Boss all the time. And
yeah, it was good. Sometimes
it did feel like it needed to be 45 minutes because they'd have 2-parters or something. But this show, it just feels like there is a lot of stuff that's good, but then there's a lot of stuff where it's I don't need that. Because this episode, Safi said that it was very impressive that Buddy Jr., he quote unquote steps up and he stays up all night to help with a cake.
Which he's probably used to doing, playing games or something.
What do you mean?
To me, it doesn't. Because any adult, well, I can't say that about my husband, but he used to stay up till 3 in the morning, whatever, doing anthropology, doing research work, writing, etc. But for me, just as an example, I can't stay up all night. And a lot of people can't. And so I think kids,
no,
maybe not you, but younger kids, I know my other son, he would stay up all night all the time, and he got a job as an undergraduate. He worked in the dormitory. He was had night duty at the dormitory, so kids, they didn't have their card or whatever, their keys. He could help them if they had any problems. They could call the police or if there was an emergency, anything. But he was used to staying up all night, and I didn't think it was anything for him to stay up all night. But he stayed up all night to work on this issue with the cake.
Yeah, and he also drives with Danny across the country to Vegas.
That is a big deal.
That's impressive too.
Way. Plus they could have had car trouble, or the cake could have gotten screwed up.
So so those were two little things that he did, but Safi kind of ignored that Sophia, with her whole business, college thing. Well, she doesn't have a degree yet, and so that's why I'm not saying degree.
Well, they didn't agree to the logo yet. That's why I didn't.
She stepped up and she tried to help them create a logo.
Which they needed
and
too.
it looked pretty good. Like, I don't know what I would think would look good for them, but I thought it was fine. The one that she scribbled out on a napkin didn't look good.
No.
There was one where it was like a B and a V, and they were together, and that was like the whole thing. And I thought, ooh. But then the one that she created with them on the computer looked good.
Yeah. That's probably where she should do it anyway.
And then also, I thought the best stuff of the episode was to do with them adding their restaurant to Caesar's Palace, which that's also where Hell's Kitchen is.
Mm-hmm.
The one that they're trying to find a head chef for this season. So I thought that was interesting. And so half of this episode was focused on them pitching the idea to the the people in Caesar's Palace. And I thought that it was cool because Sophia's roast beef is on the menu, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyone can go there and get Sophia's roast beef. Like, people are I think people... Don't you agree, Sophie, that, like, people are going to be lined up around the block to get Sophia's roast beef?
Maybe.
I
don't think you can get roast beef sandwiches everywhere. Arby's is the only one I could think of where you can
think
get roast beef.
They just can't wait to put Sophia's roast beef in their mouths and have a great sandwich.
With, what'd they call it?
With sauce. It's going to be nice and wet sandwiches with sauce.
Yeah, and mozza. Was that what it was? What they call mozzarella? Mozza?
And sauce.
Yeah.
You don't just like roast beef. You like roast beef, Sophia's roast beef with sauce. Right, Sophie?
Yeah, what this is supposed to be is supposed to be a pizza. They call it a pizzeria. And they went on and on, which I think is interesting because of Hell's Kitchen. That anybody would give their eye teeth to have a place like that, a pizzeria, whatever, in Caesar's Palace. About the money they could make, the traffic that would go through there, and the people who would taste their foods. So they're going to have pizza, and they're going to have these sandwiches, and I don't know what else, but those are like the main things. And, oh yeah, they call it mutts. Mozzarella's mutts. I was trying to see if I put the names of the pizza, but they were, one had, I guess the roast beef sandwiches, it has that mozzarella, it's freshly made, it'll be freshly made in the place all day long so people can see them make it. And then they'll have that dipping sauce and peppers, too. And the mozzarella is made from curd, water, and salt. So I didn't get the names of the pizzas. I thought I'd written it down, but I didn't. But
they did have one pizza that looked really good, where it was like an Alfredo pizza.
Yeah, Alfredo chicken
and
pizza.
I thought that sounded really, really good. That's the type of pizza that I would like.
Yeah.
And so, like, it seems like it would be a nice place to go to, although I'm not going to Vegas to get Sophia's roast beef,
No.
But
I thought they were making that for a vending machine.
But if it was on Goldbelly, I would order Sophia's roast beef. Right, Sophie?
Yeah. I was just trying to. I thought for sure I'd written them down, but I guess.
What would you like to have with Sophia's roast beef?
Okay, it's called chicken and bacon Alfredo.
Would you like to have sauce?
The other one is called Jersey roast beef. Oh no, wait, that's the sandwich.
What would you like to dip Sophia's roast beef in,
I don't
Sophie?
know, Marco. They have their own dipping sauce. I don't know what it is. And the other pizza, it's called the Vegas Nightlife Pizza. So that's the two. Vegas Nightlife Pizza and chicken and bacon Alfredo pizza. So I knew I'd written that down. So anyway, so not only do they have to make this cake, which is really a replica of Caesar's Palace on the outside. There's two statues, and there's all these columns. And the thing that Junior was involved with that it seemed like it was his idea. I never know if that's really set up or he really did think of it because he said it really quickly. Was that they were talking about, well, what should be in this cake? And of course, the cake, the place itself has all these columns. I mean, it looks like a big Greek, like Colosseum thing, and with the statues and everything. And so he said, well, it should have fire, and then they have water, and what was the building, I guess. And not only that, they had to build, at the very end, they had to build a crate to put the cake in because they were shipping it across the country. And like I said, the climate of Las Vegas is very hot. And that was a concern too, that they get that out of the truck immediately and take it in because it would melt all over. But they had to do this thing. He developed this thing. Well, it was already developed, but he had to figure out how it would go in the cake. And it's called cold sparks. I've never heard of it. And there was a machine, and the guy works near there. And the machine they were showing, the cold sparks, it doesn't burn and it doesn't smell, but it makes these, it looks like a bottle rocket or bottle rockets, or what are those things called at 4th of July?
Sparkler.
Well, they said something about sparklers, but they'd be like giant sparklers.
Roman candles.
That's what it reminded me of, not sparklers. But anyway, and it's called cold sparks. But the first machine he brought in didn't work. So he went back to his business and he got another one. He showed him what it was going to do. And so then they put that in the cake. And that was all Junior's doing. He figured out the measurements and how it would go in there. And then another thing they did with the cake, which I thought was interesting, was they had little fountains, running water fountains, 2 of them, in front of the cake. But the thing that didn't impress me, now I don't know, I guess it changed once they put the, I don't know what it would be, the frosting, the white frosting, but it looked like it was just yellow cake with chocolate frosting. But then I think they covered that with white frosting, because they showed them cutting the cake at the near the end, and it looked good. The slices of cake looked really good, and they were really big. But when they showed it at first, I didn't think it looked I don't like yellow cake, so.
Why?
I just don't.
Well, I don't like reviewing the show.
Yeah.
Especially because of you. And you're just like talking through the whole episode and just painstakingly describing everything. And it's not even a review. It's just cringeworthy.
Oh, okay, Marco.
It is. Nobody's watching the whole thing.
I bet.
They're clicking on and clicking off because, you just go on and don't even review it. You review it. You haven't said anything about your review. You didn't say anything about Sophia's roast beef.
What about it? You've already talked about it.
I don't know.
What more do you need to say?
Say more. I don't know.
She has a big part in the logo, but they don't say that they're going to accept that. They don't say that's the final logo, so I don't know what it's going to be. Marco actually looked it up to see if they
Let's look it up again.
Going.
Buddy V's.
They already have something there in Caesar's Palace. It's Buddy V's. No, wait, that's what it's going to be called. Buddy V's Pizzeria. It's something else.
Las Vegas.
Well, the Boss Cafe. They already have the Boss Cafe there. That's where they gave the presentation. So, anyway.
I don't know. I don't see it. I just see...
The cake made it there okay, except one of the statues kind of fell off a little bit. It was a smaller one in front. But they could fix that. And then Buddy Jr. had smudged one of the corners when they moved the cake on a pallet to build a crate around it. And Morrow was in charge of that.
Oh yeah, that was a good part.
And they were unhappy about it. And it was just like...
Because he pretended like he didn't.
it was like clay. Let's say if you had a smooth clay piece and then you got your fingers on it and it made finger marks. It was like 3 or 4 little finger marks on a corner of this humongous cake that they said probably weighed like 400 pounds. I don't know. I don't know what to think, because they keep going on about making more money and more money and more money, and I'm like, how much money do you need?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, they just keep talking about how this is going to bring in more money and what they could charge, and how much traffic is going to go through there.
How much traffic do you think is going to go through to get Sophia's roast beef?
And I'm like, how much money do they need? I mean, is there going to come to a point where he's just going to go too far and just have too much going on?
What?
And is he going to realize that? And the questions are up in the air about,
I don't know,
the family. And I think about this all the time.
They didn't really go into that this episode, though. No. That's this
but
episode.
I still think about it.
This episode was kind of a weaker episode. I give it like a C+. I mean, the only thing that I really liked was seeing that, like, ooh, it'd be nice to get Sophia's roast beef, and then maybe that pizza with the Alfredo on it. But other than that, I was like, because, like, what is there to say? Like, with Cake Boss, there was a lot going on, and the thing that I really hate about the show, because I'm starting to hate it more and more, is that, with Cake Boss, it was people getting these cakes. And it was like he would sit down with people and consult with them right there in the bakery. And it was like, this is really cool and personal and just interesting. But in this show, it's like, oh, buddy, your corporation friend called and they want a big giant cake for their big giant opening or whatever. And it's like, I don't give a fuck about these people. I want to see normal people, like, real people getting cakes from Buddy. And, like, what they used to do. Like, they can still do companies, but, like, I think that, like, in the old show, it was a lot better because, they had so much more going on. Like, I just think about each episode of the show, they'd have a bunch of shenanigans with all the different family members, and they'd have something with his mother coming in, and, they don't really have any of that anymore. They don't have, like, it's mostly just, we gotta make a cake for a big corporation, for a big event, and also Buddy Jr. wants to be the boss. He wants to be the boss. That's what he wants to be, because...
I don't agree with it. I think that it should be a team approach. I think they would be better served. It would probably be because they would all have a hand in it. Maybe that's not good either, because maybe they wouldn't agree. They would, like, if they were working together, they wouldn't agree on anything, and then that would be problematic too. So I don't know. I don't know for sure, but I don't know how it's going to work. I really don't. So Sophia, she's not chopped liver, and she made that roast beef sandwich, which is going to be in the pizzeria, and she was even doing the logo. So she's not sitting around doing nothing. She was, she is doing her internship, so she can't be there.
I swear, if they put Sophia's roast beef on Goldbelly, we will get her roast beef immediately, and we will eat Sophia's roast beef on camera. And you'll see. Right, Sophie?
It sounded really good. It sounded with all... I'm not into peppers, but...
are you into her... Are you into the sauce?
I think a sauce for a sandwich is good. Marco loves that kind of thing.
Yeah, how much sauce, though? Do you think there could ever be too much sauce on Sophia's roast beef?
Well, it looked like they had a container. We just went to that steakhouse and got a container, had butter, pats of butter in it, like that size maybe. or like a Jello serving, when you get Jello in a 4 or 6 pack, that size of container for the sauce. And, I mean, if it's a thick sandwich with the bread and everything, and the mozzarella or the mutts, whatever they called it, and the roast beef and the peppers, it'd have to be, you'd have to have, you don't want to skimp on the sauce. So.
Really? Do you think someone would be doing a disservice to Sophia's roast beef by skimping on the sauce?
Yeah. And that would be a quality control issue.
No, because it's on the side. Right?
No, if they provide that with the sandwich, like in Goldbelly's, that's part of the deal.
So what would you give the episode, Sophie? I mean, is there really anything else to say? I mean,
No.
we're grasping.
They are going to do the pizzeria, but as far as the research that Marco did into it, they haven't. At least they don't show it being.
Yeah, he's got pizza, cake, and then another thing that he already has, though. Restaurants.
Yeah, he has other places there. So he was going on, too, and I'm about how that everybody and the brother wants to get a special eating place there at Caesar's Palace. It's a very desirable place to be. And so when I hear that, you know what I think of?
What?
Gordon Ramsay.
Oh.
And him having places at Caesar's Palace. So, anyway, I gave it a B.
A B?
Yeah, because...
You didn't even say anything. You just talked about Sophia's roast beef.
No, you did.
No, you did.
I talked about the pecan pies. I like to hear about, just everything isn't perfect all the time with them. No matter what. And these things come up, and I find that weird because, well, you know what? They were doing pecan pies for the holidays. And I'm like, what holidays? Because what time of year is this? It's still summer, I believe. I don't know. And also, that guy, Danny, he did, we were going like the last episode, and which was really not the last episode. That was 7, and we had already seen 8 because that's what they put on there to watch. He said, this is going to be my last thing that I'm going to do, my last big thing. I'm going now. 49 years, it's long enough. That's what he said when he was driving with Buddy Jr. And,
well, do you have anything else to say? Because I think we're not grasping at straws. We're grasping at Sophia's roast beef.
Oh, God.
What?
No, I don't have anything
It's a
else to
saying.
say.
We're grasping at straws, but in this case, it's something else. And so what else is there to say?
There's nothing really else to say.
Well, you said after you watched the episode that Marco looked disinterested.
Yes, he didn't look... But he's 16. I'm not going to fault him completely because...
You said that, though.
He's immature. He's really immature.
So are you.
And then the little boy, I don't know what to see. He acted more like a little kid.
Carlo?
Yeah, there. But the thing
He's
about
still
them
working
going-
on his gangster stuff.
The thing is, when they went swimming, I'm thinking, like, why did he have to take the whole family there?
Why? What do
To
you
go
mean?
swimming. I mean, I just think it's
I don't
weird.
know.
They have a pool.
Maybe he took them to Hell's Kitchen.
They live in a mansion.
You
They
better
have a pool.
believe if I go to Caesar's Palace, I'm going to Hell's Kitchen and seeing if the risotto is actually good in person.
Yeah,
Since
really.
it's not good in the Walmart
Nah.
or the Wellington or anything. Like, is
See,
any of it
You
good?
can compare there. They make those pecan pies at their factory, and he looked at the he checked the quality control of those pies. So you got to wonder, does Gordon Ramsay check the quality control of these things that come out of the Walmart frozen food line that he's named for on these different dishes? Because we've already done the video for that, several.
We haven't for him, though, for Buddy, his cake at Walmart.
No, we were gonna do that,
We will.
but we were at
But
lunch,
we got sick though, and so we didn't really. And then it was right now is like birthday season, where like you have my birthday and then you have another one, and it's like
They're all around the same.
it's a lot of cake.
Yeah.
So
we don't need to buy a cake.
it's like a cake rampage.
Yeah.
So, Sophie?
So anyway, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye!